The Galactic Council was a powerful alliance of alien races that spanned across the stars, governing countless worlds. Each race was technologically advanced in their own way, but together they formed a military and scientific might that could conquer anything in the galaxy. But even for this mighty council, there was one threat they couldn't ignore: humanity. Over the centuries, humans had evolved into a species that was more resilient than most alien races could comprehend. Earth, known as a death world in galactic terms, was filled with dangers, from deadly predators to natural disasters. Humans had learned to survive against the odds, adapting quickly and fiercely to the harshest of environments. This made them unpredictable, and unpredictability in the eyes of the Galactic Council was dangerous. After several failed attempts to make Earth a part of their empire, the Council decided to take matters into their own hands by unleashing their most deadly weapon ever created: hydro-weapons. Hydro-weapons were unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. They were biological and chemical weapons capable of manipulating water at the molecular level. These weapons could flood entire cities, dissolve organic matter, and even trigger catastrophic natural disasters. The Galactic Council had already used them on less resilient planets, reducing them to barren wastelands where no life could survive. It was a weapon that struck terror into even the bravest of alien species. If this weapon could bring entire civilizations to their knees, surely humanity wouldn't stand a chance. The Council's scientists had spent decades developing hydro-weapons. By manipulating water molecules, they could cause mass destruction on a scale unimaginable to those who hadn't witnessed it. It was more than just a weapon. It was a form of control, a way to break the spirit of a species and force them into submission. But when the Council turned its eyes on Earth, it made a dangerous assumption: that humans were too primitive to understand the weapon's intricacies, too weak to resist. They believed the weapon would be a quick, decisive strike. The Council's leaders saw humanity as a mere stepping stone to greater power. They had seen Earth's history, with wars fought over resources, and thought the planet's inhabitants were no match for a species as advanced as their own. They believed that humanity's inability to defend itself against such a threat would mean their quick extinction. As the Galactic Council made its decision, the wheels of war began to turn. The hydro-weapons, carefully designed and perfected, were now ready for deployment. The Council's fleet of warships, invisible to Earth's defenses through the use of advanced cloaking devices, made their way to the planet in secret. These ships were enormous, far larger than anything humanity had ever seen. Each ship was a fortress, brimming with weapons, AI-driven drones, and technological marvels. Yet despite the sheer size and power of the ships, they remained unseen by the human eye. On Earth, there was no sign of the impending disaster. Human defenses were completely unaware of the alien threat approaching their world. Governments were focused on routine matters, unaware that their planet was about to be attacked by forces far beyond their comprehension. The skies above Earth remained clear, the sun shining brightly as the world went about its business. But the first sign that something was wrong came when the weather patterns began to shift in strange, unexplainable ways. Scientists started noticing minor seismic tremors in the Earth's crust. These weren't normal earthquakes, though. There was something different about them, a vibration that felt unnatural. Across the globe, people were confused, unsure whether these disturbances were natural or something more. News stations reported on the strange phenomenon, but no one could explain it. As the days passed, the tremors intensified, and the weather grew even more unpredictable. In some areas, violent storms appeared without warning, bringing heavy rain, intense winds, and freezing temperatures. It was as if the very atmosphere was being manipulated, yet there was no apparent cause. Governments dispatched scientists to study the anomaly, but they were equally baffled. No one had seen anything like it before. The tension in the air was palpable. People everywhere started to feel a deep, gnawing sense of unease. In cities, on the streets, in the halls of power, something felt off. Whispers spread of strange lights in the sky, of unusual patterns in the stars. There was a sense that something massive was watching them, lurking just beyond the edge of understanding. In space, the alien fleet was now in position, cloaked by advanced technology that rendered them invisible to Earth's detection systems. The fleet remained hidden in the blackness of space, just outside Earth's atmosphere. There was no way for humanity to detect their approach. The aliens knew that humanity's greatest strength was its unpredictability, but they believed they had the upper hand. They would strike without warning, and humanity would be forced to surrender before they even had a chance to react. The Council waited patiently, watching Earth from the shadows. They observed as humans continued to go about their lives, blissfully unaware of the impending doom. The Hydra weapons were their ultimate weapon, and they would show humanity just how powerless they truly were. The aliens' confidence in their technology was unwavering. After all, who could survive such a weapon? The Hydra weapons would destabilize Earth's water systems, rendering humanity unable to survive. In secret, the Galactic Council's commanders discussed the final stages of the attack. They had already begun preparations to release the Hydra weapons, targeting Earth's major bodies of water, including oceans, rivers, and underground reservoirs. Their plan was to overwhelm the planet's water supply, poisoning it and turning it into a deadly force against the humans who lived there. On Earth, the whispers of strange events grew louder. People began to notice the increased seismic activity and weather shifts. In many places, it became clear that something was not right. But still, no one could pinpoint the source of these anomalies. It felt as though a storm was coming, but no one knew what it would bring. Then, in the dead of night, the alien fleet unleashed the Hydra weapons, a silent, deadly strike that changed the world forever. The Earth's oceans began to pulse with strange energy, waves of force rippling through the water like a living entity. The very molecules of water began to change, transforming into a toxic agent that threatened to kill all life on the planet. The aliens, watching from their cloaked ships, waited for Earth's destruction. What they didn't know, however, was that their expectations were about to be shattered in the most unexpected way. Humanity, in all its unpredictability, was about to reveal a surprising strength that no one had anticipated. The Alien Council would soon learn that even the most advanced weapon in the galaxy might not be enough to destroy humanity. Suspense hook. The tension mounts as the skies above Earth darken, and the first signs of the Hydra weapons deployment begin to show. The planet's waters are changing in ways that seem impossible, and humanity is completely unaware of the true nature of the threat. The aliens' cloaked ships remain hidden in space, silently observing the chaos unfolding below. Earth, seemingly on the edge of disaster, is about to learn just how resilient and dangerous it truly is. The Galactic Council's fleet hovered silently above Earth, cloaked by their advanced technology, completely invisible to the planet's defenses. The aliens waited in anticipation as they prepared to release the most devastating weapon ever conceived, the Hydra weapons. These weapons, capable of manipulating water at the molecular level, were designed to break humanity's will and force the planet into submission. The aliens were confident that nothing could withstand their power. The Hydra weapons were set to unleash chaos. The oceans, rivers, and lakes were the perfect targets, vital sources of life for the human race. The Council had tested these weapons on other worlds, and with each test, they had proven to be absolutely lethal. On previous planets, once the Hydra weapons had been deployed, water systems were quickly rendered toxic, causing mass deaths and environmental destruction. Entire civilizations were wiped out in a matter of days. The aliens expected nothing less than total devastation on Earth. With the flick of a switch, the first wave of Hydra weapons was released. The energy that surged through the Earth's waters was almost invisible, like an invisible force moving beneath the surface. For a moment, the world seemed at peace. The Earth's oceans, rivers, and lakes appeared unchanged. But the very molecules of water were beginning to shift. It was a slow, silent transformation. In the span of hours, the planet began to experience the first signs of devastation. The oceans, once calm and vast, began to ripple unnaturally. A strange heat emanated from the waters, and in several places, the surface of the ocean started to boil. What had once been a peaceful body of water was now a deadly, seething cauldron. Giant waves rose from the boiling waters, crashing against the shores with violent force. Oceans that were once a vital source of life were now a raging storm of death. But this was just the beginning. Rivers, which had long nourished civilizations, began to glow with a sickly hue. The water, once clean and life-giving, was now turning toxic. The aliens, hidden in the void of space, watched in awe as their weapon began to work. The water systems across the planet were rapidly becoming contaminated. Entire populations that relied on these water sources would be rendered helpless, unable to drink, bathe, or even irrigate crops. The Earth's supply of fresh water, once abundant, was being poisoned beyond recognition. Yet, as the alien fleet looked on, something completely unexpected happened. The humans did not collapse. People across the planet began to notice the strange changes to their environment. But they did not react as the aliens had anticipated. In some places, the boiling oceans seemed to create an eerie fog that covered the land. In cities, the rivers turned an unnatural color, their waters turning into something viscous and poisonous. Still, humanity did not fall. People continued to drink the contaminated water, their bodies somehow resisting the toxins. They walked through the streets, unaware of how close they were to disaster, continuing with their daily routines, as if nothing had changed. The aliens were stunned. They had expected mass deaths, panic, and despair to follow their weapons activation. But instead, they saw humans continuing their lives, undeterred by the deadly changes occurring around them. In some regions, the strange new weather patterns emerged, bringing intense heat, violent storms, and even snow in places where it had never snowed before. Yet the humans adapted, finding ways to survive, seeking shelter, and continuing to live on. In the alien ships, the commanders were speechless. Their most powerful weapon, the hydro weapons, had been unleashed on a primitive planet. They had believed Earth was weak, a planet full of fragile creatures who could not withstand such an assault. But instead of collapsing in despair, humans seemed to be surviving. It made no sense. How could a species with such limited technology survive an attack that had wiped out countless others? The alien commanders turned to their scientists, demanding answers. But even their most brilliant minds were stumped. How could humanity withstand the hydro weapons? This had never happened before. Planets had fallen, populations had died, and entire ecosystems had been destroyed in the blink of an eye. Yet here, on Earth, the weapon had no effect. Meanwhile, humans continued to struggle, but they refused to give up. Scientists were working overtime to understand the bizarre changes happening to the planet. Emergency services were overwhelmed by the constant storms and flooding, but humanity's resilience showed itself in unexpected ways. Some cities had established water filtration systems that, against all odds, managed to purify the contaminated water. Others found innovative ways to use the new weather patterns to their advantage, harvesting energy from the extreme conditions. Humans, it seemed, had an innate adaptability that the aliens had underestimated. In rural areas, farmers were trying to save their crops, watering them with whatever clean water they could find. While some parts of the world were devastated, other areas showed surprising recovery. Despite the odds, humans found a way to survive, even thrive. The aliens watched, still unable to understand how such a primitive species could continue to endure when faced with a weapon that should have crushed them. The Galactic Council's confidence was shaken. They had assumed that Earth's primitive technology and lack of advanced defense systems would make them easy prey for the hydro weapons. But instead, humans were showing a surprising immunity to the weapons' effects. As the first days passed, the Council's initial shock turned into confusion and then into frustration. This was supposed to be an easy victory, yet the humans were still standing. The stakes were now higher than ever. The aliens knew that if they didn't act quickly, their most powerful weapon would be ineffective. They had to find another way to break humanity. They had to learn what made humans so resilient, so strong, and then exploit it. But there was a problem. The Hydra weapons were already in motion, and they couldn't simply stop them. The damage had been done. But why had the humans not fallen? Suspense hook. As the Hydra weapons begin to take effect, the aliens are left stunned. The devastation they expected does not come. The Earth's oceans boil, rivers turn toxic, and the weather becomes erratic. Yet humanity's strength and resilience are revealed in the most unexpected ways. How can a primitive species survive such a powerful weapon? The aliens, unable to comprehend the situation, begin to realize they might have underestimated humanity's true potential. The battle is only beginning. The Galactic Council's initial shock had given way to anger. The Hydra weapons were failing. Humanity wasn't dying. Despite the oceans boiling and the rivers turning toxic, Earth's inhabitants were somehow surviving. The weapons that had obliterated entire planets weren't working on this strange, resilient species. The Council could not understand why. But as their confusion deepened, the humans were making an unexpected discovery that would change everything. Flashback. Earth's resilience in the face of nature's fury. To understand why humans were resistant to the Hydra weapons, one had to look back at Earth's long history, a history of survival against overwhelming odds. The planet had always been a violent, unpredictable place. Natural disasters were common. Volcanic eruptions, massive earthquakes, floods, and tornadoes had shaped Earth for billions of years. These disasters had forced life on Earth to adapt, to evolve quickly in order to survive. Humans, unlike other species, had thrived in the face of danger. From the beginning of their history, they had faced challenges that would have wiped out lesser species. Extreme temperatures, wildfires, and diseases had all shaped them. The planet had forced them to grow stronger, more resilient. Over time, they had developed unique biological traits that allowed them to withstand harsh conditions. Humans' resistance to foreign diseases had been the result of centuries of natural selection. The planet's constant threat of viral outbreaks and bacterial infections had forced humanity's immune systems to evolve quickly. The human body had become adept at fighting off invaders, from deadly viruses to harmful bacteria, creating an immunity that many alien species could not comprehend. Earth had been a breeding ground for survival, and humanity's genetics reflected that. But it wasn't just diseases that had shaped humanity. The planet's water had played a huge role in this evolution. Rivers and oceans, sometimes calm and sometimes deadly, had shaped human life. Over millennia, humans had adapted to their environment, developing the ability to resist toxins and other biological agents. The unique properties of Earth's water, its mineral content, and the chemicals that naturally occurred in the oceans had slowly provided humanity with a subtle but powerful defense against outside forces. As the alien council scrambled, sending wave after wave of Hydra weapon variants to Earth, the humans were hard at work uncovering the secret to their immunity. Scientists and researchers, many of whom had been studying Earth's ecosystem for years, quickly recognized the pattern. The contamination caused by the Hydra weapons was strange. It seemed to spread across the planet in waves, but there was something odd about the way it affected different regions. In some places, it seemed almost like the land was fighting back. Through intense research, it became clear that the water on Earth contained a rare compound that neutralized the effects of the Hydra weapons. This compound, which occurred naturally in the oceans, rivers, and lakes, acted as a barrier to the biological agent released by the Hydra weapons. It didn't kill the weapon or destroy it, but it rendered it harmless. The Hydra weapons, designed to manipulate water at the molecular level, were completely ineffective against this compound. The compound, a unique chemical that had evolved over millennia in response to the extreme conditions on Earth, acted as a sort of natural defense. The aliens had no idea that Earth's water contained this powerful substance, and they certainly hadn't expected it to act as a shield against their advanced weaponry. The moment the scientists confirmed their findings, the world's leaders acted swiftly. They knew that the Hydra weapons were not over yet. The Council would likely send even more devastating versions of the weapon. But now humanity had a chance to not only survive, but to fight back. The Galactic Council, in their hidden space stations and ships, were furious. The Hydra weapons, which had destroyed entire civilizations, had failed. They couldn't comprehend why Earth had withstood their attacks. In desperation, they launched more variants of the Hydra weapons, each one more powerful and dangerous than the last. But each new version of the weapon failed miserably. The waters of Earth neutralized them just as quickly as they had neutralized the first wave. The Council was forced to watch in frustration as their most advanced weapons, tools they had developed for centuries, proved ineffective against the planet they had once believed would be an easy target. This unexpected turn of events pushed the Council to a breaking point. How could their weapons fail against such a primitive species? How could something so simple as Earth's water defeat their greatest weapon? But as they scrambled to develop even more advanced versions of the Hydra weapons, they underestimated the ingenuity of humanity. Humans were not just surviving anymore. They were starting to fight back. The scientists had not only discovered how the Hydra weapons worked, but had also begun to develop methods to harness the water's natural resistance. They realized that the compound that neutralized the Hydra weapons could be used to their advantage. By combining Earth's water with basic technology, humanity began to reverse engineer the weapons' effects, turning them into tools for defense. Small localized groups began to gather and share their findings. Engineers and biologists worked together, developing new filtration systems and advanced water purification techniques. These innovations allowed humanity to not only survive but to adapt the Hydra weapons for their own use. In cities around the world, people were starting to work together to protect their communities. Governments began to coordinate efforts, using their newfound knowledge of the Hydra weapons to create a global defense system. In every corner of the Earth, from the jungles of South America to the deserts of Africa, humanity began to fight back in ways no one could have imagined. The water purification systems, powered by Earth's natural resistance, became humanity's first line of defense. People constructed barriers and filtration plants that purify the contaminated water, making it safe again. In some areas, humans even created powerful shields that protected their cities from the alien onslaught. These shields, built from Earth's own natural resources, were able to neutralize the Hydra weapons' effects before they could do any real damage. The battle was just beginning, and Earth's resilience was starting to shine. Humans, though outmatched technologically by the aliens, had something the Council didn't: adaptability. While the aliens relied on their advanced technology, humans used their environment and their ingenuity to turn the tide in their favor. The Galactic Council, watching from the stars, realized that they had miscalculated. Humanity, the species they had once dismissed as weak and primitive, was fighting back. The Hydra weapons were failing. What had once seemed like an easy victory was turning into a desperate struggle for the Council's fleet. Now, instead of watching their victory unfold, the Council was scrambling to prevent total defeat. The battle between Earth and the Galactic Council had just begun, and as the Council continued to send more powerful Hydra weapon variants, humanity was more determined than ever to defend their home. With the secret of their water's resistance now in their hands, humans were ready to take on the most advanced forces the galaxy had ever seen. The war had escalated, and humanity was no longer on the defensive. With their survival at stake, humans had begun to fight back. No longer a weak and primitive species, Earth's inhabitants were using their unique strengths and technological ingenuity to take the fight to the stars. The Galactic Council, which had expected an easy victory, was now facing an unexpected challenge. The tide was beginning to turn, and the underdog story of humanity's struggle was only just beginning. After surviving the initial attacks, Humanity had learned invaluable lessons about the alien invaders. With the secret of Earth's water's resistance now known, the human military quickly adapted their strategies. They had already been modifying their own weapons systems in anticipation of future threats, but now they turned their focus to the hydro weapons themselves. Scientists and military leaders collaborated on a plan to reverse engineer the alien technology. They studied the hydro weapons closely, looking for weaknesses and points of vulnerability. They knew that the aliens had targeted Earth with the intent of wiping out humanity, but the hydro weapons had failed to neutralize their targets. The same weapon that had devastated entire planets was ineffective against Earth's unique water, and that was humanity's greatest advantage. By reverse engineering the hydro weapons, humans were able to modify them to target the alien fleets directly. The new weapon design did not manipulate water at a molecular level in the same way as the original hydro weapons, but was instead focused on targeting the cooling systems of the alien ships. These ships, which relied on advanced technology for their energy grids, were vulnerable to disruptions in their internal cooling systems. With the new weapon in hand, humanity was ready to strike. The modified hydro weapons were deployed in large-scale attacks on the alien ships. The first strike was devastating, targeting the energy grids of the alien fleet. Without their cooling systems functioning properly, the alien ships began to malfunction, their energy supplies depleted. The once powerful warships were now vulnerable, their advanced technology turned against them. As the modified hydro weapons began to take effect, the human military launched a series of orbital bombardments that shook the heavens. The skies above Earth were filled with fire as missiles and laser weapons collided with the alien ships. The intensity of the battle had shifted in humanity's favor. The alien fleet, once so confident in their technological superiority, was now scrambling to regroup and adapt to the unexpected human counterattack. But humans weren't relying solely on orbital bombardment to win the fight. They had learned that the key to defeating the alien invaders was to get up close and personal, to infiltrate the enemy ships and strike at their hearts. This required a new kind of warfare, covert operations, and tactical strikes. Human fighters, equipped with cloaking devices and advanced stealth technology, infiltrated the alien ships undetected. These specialized forces, made up of the best soldiers from around the world, were able to bypass the alien fleet's defensive shields and boards. With deadly precision, they sabotaged key components of the ships, disabling weapons systems and internal communications. On the ground, robots and drones played a crucial role. These unmanned machines, built for combat, were deployed to infiltrate the alien ships and sabotage their internal systems. While human soldiers fought in close-quarters combat on the outside, the robots went deep inside the alien ships, dismantling energy grids and causing internal chaos. One of the most intense battles took place aboard an alien flagship, a massive warship that had once seemed invincible. The human soldiers, cloaked and silent, infiltrated the ship and fought their way through its corridors. As they fought, they discovered that the aliens had underestimated humanity's ability to think quickly and adapt under pressure. The once impenetrable alien fortress was now at risk of being overrun by the very species it had sought to destroy. The human military had only just begun to scratch the surface of their potential. Their success in infiltrating and disabling the alien ships proved that they had learned how to exploit the weaknesses in the advanced alien technology. Humanity's greatest strength was not their weapons, but their ability to adapt and use what they had in innovative ways. The battles were not all one-sided. The alien fleet fought back with desperate ferocity, launching counterattacks and retaliatory strikes. Their weapons, though powerful, were no match for humanity's strategic thinking and creative tactics. Time and time again, the humans outsmarted the more technologically advanced aliens. One particularly striking moment occurred during a large-scale ground assault. Alien forces had landed on Earth's surface in an attempt to take control of key military bases. They were met by a surprising counteroffensive. Humans, equipped with makeshift armor and modified weapons, launched an attack with guerrilla-style tactics. While the aliens were used to facing well-organized military forces, they found themselves caught off guard by the humans' ability to fight back in unconventional ways. The underdog story was clear. Humanity, once thought to be weak and outmatched, had begun to find its footing. The Galactic Council had underestimated the resilience and determination of humans. With every successful strike and each alien ship disabled, humanity was proving that their greatest strength lay in their ability to survive against all odds. As the battles raged on, it became evident that the tide of war was turning. The Galactic Council's once overwhelming fleet was being destroyed, one ship at a time. The human military, driven by their newfound sense of purpose, pushed forward with determination. The modified hydro weapons, now in full use, continued to wreak havoc on the alien technology. With each successful mission, humans grew bolder, their confidence rising with every victory. Humanity's retaliation was not just about advanced technology or superior weaponry. It was about the human spirit, about never giving up, even when the odds were against them. It was a battle of endurance, of pushing through adversity, and of proving that no matter how technologically advanced an enemy might be, there was one thing they could never understand: the power of the human will to survive and fight for what was theirs. As the final wave of alien ships retreated into the far reaches of space, a quiet hope spread across Earth. The Galactic Council had failed. Humanity had not only survived, but had begun to push back, reclaiming their world and their future. This was the beginning of a new chapter for Earth, a chapter written by those who had fought against the odds and emerged victorious. The Galactic Council had seen the writing on the wall. Their earlier failures, the unexpected resistance from the humans, and their inability to defeat Earth's adaptive technology had shaken their confidence. Now they were sending their most powerful weapon, an eye-powered fleet, the pinnacle of their technological advancements. They believed that with this final assault, humanity would finally be eradicated once and for all. However, the Galactic Council had severely underestimated the unpredictability of the human spirit and emotions. They didn't understand what made humans fight, what made them sacrifice, and what made them so relentlessly determined. The AI fleet, programmed for precision and cold efficiency, was about to meet something it couldn't calculate: humanity's willingness to defy the odds. The arrival of the AI fleet. The sky above Earth darkened as the alien fleet entered the planet's orbit. Unlike the previous alien ships that had relied on organic technology, this new fleet was entirely powered by artificial intelligence. These AIs controlled vast fleets of warships, drones, and robots. Each ship was a perfect, efficient killing machine. The AIs had no emotions, no hesitation, and no mercy. Their programming was clear: destroy humanity and ensure that Earth would never pose a threat to the Galactic Council again. At first glance, the fleet seemed unstoppable. The massive warships hovered silently in space, their sleek designs reflecting the coldness of the machines controlling them. They deployed swarms of attack drones, which descended towards Earth with the precision of a well-oiled machine. The air was filled with the whine of energy blasts and the flash of lasers as the final battle began. But Earth's defenders were no longer the helpless victims they had been at the start of the war. Humanity had adapted, learned, and fought back. With every attack, they had grown stronger. They had learned from their mistakes, they had turned the tide with their ingenuity, and they had discovered how to defeat the overwhelming alien technology. Now, they were ready to face the final challenge. The human military, led by General Roderick Bonner, had already prepared for this moment. Bonner had become a symbol of humanity's resilience, a leader who had fought alongside his soldiers, never backing down even when faced with certain death. His strategic genius and determination had kept the human resistance alive. And now, as the AI fleet descended upon them, he knew that this would be humanity's greatest challenge. In the midst of the chaos, Bonner gave the order to launch the final assault. Earth's military would go on the offensive, using everything they had learned to strike at the heart of the alien AI fleet. But Bonner also knew that this would require a sacrifice, one that would ensure the mission's success. The battle was fierce, with humans fighting tooth and nail against the AI-controlled fleet. The skies above Earth became a battlefield, filled with explosions, fire, and the wreckage of destroyed ships. But as the battle raged on, Bonner knew that the key to victory lay in disabling the alien command ship, the heart of the AI fleet. If they could take down the command ship, they could destroy the entire fleet. As Bonner and his soldiers infiltrated the alien warship's defenses, they encountered fierce resistance. But Bonner pushed forward, knowing that there was no turning back. He reached the heart of the command ship, where he and his team prepared to activate the weapon that would disable the AI fleet's shields and render them vulnerable. However, the mission was more dangerous than ever, and Bonner knew that his survival was unlikely. In a moment of raw emotion, Bonner made a difficult decision. He would remain behind to ensure that the weapon was activated, even if it meant his death. As his soldiers struggled to hold off the alien forces, Bonner placed his hand on the activation panel. His final words, spoken through the comm system, were simple but powerful. For humanity. For Earth. With those words, Bonner's sacrifice ensured the success of the mission. The weapon was activated, sending a powerful pulse through the alien fleet's shield systems, temporarily disabling them. Bonner's soldiers, driven by his final message, fought harder than ever, their hearts filled with the desire to honor their fallen leader's memory. With the alien shields down, humanity launched their final assault. The modified hydro weapons, now fully adapted to target the alien fleet's vulnerabilities, were used with precision. The human fleet's bombers and fighter ships moved in, attacking the alien ships with everything they had. It was an all-out war, a desperate attempt to turn the tide, and finally eliminate the threat to humanity. The human fighters, with their cloaking technology and adaptive weapons, infiltrated the alien warships. They fought their way through enemy lines, disabling critical systems and cutting down the remaining drones and robots. The alien ships, once sleek and invulnerable, were now vulnerable and falling apart. The climactic moment came when the human forces launched a final assault on the alien command ship. The command ship, which had been the nerve center of the AI fleet, was the last stronghold of the Galactic Council's forces. But the humans, now empowered by their unity and their leader's sacrifice, stormed the ship with everything they had. The human fleet unleashed a barrage of weapons, targeting the command ship's remaining weak points. With a final blast from the modified hydro weapon, the alien command ship's core was destroyed, sending a massive explosion rippling through the fleet. One by one, the remaining alien ships fell. The once mighty Galactic Council fleet was no more. The victory. Humanity's triumph. The battle was over, and humanity had won. The AI fleet, once thought to be invincible, had been destroyed, and the Galactic Council's dream of eradicating humanity was shattered. The human resistance, led by General Bonner's sacrifice, had turned the tide in their favor. As Earth's survivors looked up to the sky, they knew that they had faced their darkest hour and emerged victorious. The Galactic Council's fleet had been defeated, and humanity had proven that even in the face of overwhelming odds, they could fight back. The underdog had triumphed. The victory was not just a military one. It was a victory for the human spirit, for the emotions, the unpredictability, and the heart that made humanity so unique. The AI fleet had been cold, efficient, and merciless, but humanity had something it could never understand: hope, determination, and the ability to love and sacrifice for one another. Humanity had fought the ultimate battle, good vs evil, and emerged victorious. With Bonner's sacrifice and the bravery of his soldiers, humanity had secured its future. Earth would never be the same again, but the hope that had carried them through the darkest moments would continue to guide them in the years to come. The final battle had been fought and won. The last remnants of the Galactic Council's fleet lay in ruins, scattered across the dark void of space. Earth's skies, once thick with the smoke of battle and the shadows of alien ships, were now clear. The Galactic Council, which had once believed it was invincible, was now defeated. Humanity, the underdog species, had proven itself to be the strongest force in the galaxy. As the dust settled and the last echoes of the final assault faded, humanity stood on the edge of a new era. Earth, once considered a primitive planet in the farthest corner of the galaxy, had risen to become one of the most powerful and respected species in the universe. The story of their resistance, ingenuity, and resilience spread like wildfire, inspiring countless other civilizations that had been watching from afar. After the destruction of the alien command ship and the defeat of their most advanced fleet, the Galactic Council had no choice but to surrender. Their leaders, once so confident in their superiority, now found themselves at the mercy of the very species they had tried to exterminate. The Council's cold, calculating strategies had been no match for the unpredictability of humanity's spirit. A delegation from the Council arrived on Earth, humbled and broken. They had come to acknowledge the truth. Humanity was not a primitive race to be wiped out, but a force to be reckoned with. Their technology had been impressive, their strategy flawless, but they had overlooked one crucial factor: the power of human emotion and determination. The humans, led by General Roderick Bonner's surviving comrades, did not hesitate in their victory. They knew that peace had to be built, and the first step was establishing clear terms for the future. Earth's leaders negotiated with the Galactic Council, ensuring that the atrocities of the war would never be repeated. The Galactic Council was forced to admit defeat and offer reparations for their actions, with no option of refusal. Visual storytelling. The destruction of the alien fleet. The final scenes of the battle were seared into the minds of everyone who had witnessed them. The destruction of the alien command ship was a moment of immense power and symbolism. The massive alien vessel, once the hub of the entire eye-controlled fleet, exploded in a brilliant flash of light as Earth's modified hydro weapon hit its core. The energy blast sent shockwaves across space, sending alien ships tumbling through the vast emptiness. Each alien ship was torn apart, one after the other, by the water-based energy weapons humans had adapted from the hydro weapons. It was an irony not lost on anyone. Water, the very element the aliens had tried to use to destroy humanity, had become the weapon of their downfall. The very same water that nourished and protected Earth had turned into the weapon that ended the war. The sight of alien ships being torn asunder by the power of Earth's ingenuity was a sight to behold. Massive explosions rocked space, debris floating in every direction, and the once mighty alien fleet crumbled into dust. In the final moments of the battle, the last alien ship, now nothing more than a smoldering hulk, drifted helplessly through the void, its power gone. And then there was silence. The skies above Earth, once clouded by the smoke and debris of war, began to clear. The stars that had watched over the planet for eons now shone brightly in the peaceful sky. The battle was over, and with it, a new chapter for humanity was about to begin. With the destruction of the Galactic Council's fleet and the surrender of their leaders, humanity had earned the respect of the entire galaxy. Earth, once ignored and underestimated, had become a beacon of hope and strength. The story of humanity's resilience in the face of impossible odds had spread far and wide, inspiring other civilizations that had been watching the conflict unfold from the shadows. No longer viewed as a primitive species, humans were now seen as equal partners in the galactic community. The other alien races, once dismissive of Earth's potential, now looked at humanity with awe and admiration. Diplomats from all corners of the galaxy arrived on Earth, eager to establish peaceful relations with the newly risen power. Earth's leaders, though grateful for the victory, understood that the journey was far from over. They knew that the galaxy was vast, and many challenges still lay ahead. But they also knew that humanity had proven itself capable of facing anything that came their way. The war with the Galactic Council had been just the beginning. Now, humanity stood at the forefront of a new era. As Earth settled into a new era of peace, There was a renewed sense of hope that filled every human heart. The lessons of the war had not been lost. Humanity had learned that unity, resilience, and creativity could overcome even the most powerful adversaries. They had faced the impossible and emerged victorious. They had turned the tide in a war that no one believed they could win, and in doing so, had changed the course of their future. The message that humanity had taken away from the war was simple. No matter how overwhelming the odds, they would never back down from a fight. They would always stand up for what was right, for their families, and for their planet. They had proven that their strength lay not in their technology or military might, but in their unwavering spirit. It was a lesson that resonated with every person who had fought, bled, and sacrificed in the name of victory. As the Galactic Council's representatives departed Earth, having signed a treaty acknowledging humanity's strength and sovereignty, Earth's leaders gathered to reflect on what had been achieved. They knew that the road ahead would be challenging, with new threats and challenges on the horizon. But they were no longer afraid. Humanity had earned its place among the stars. With the war behind them, humanity now turned its focus to the future. Earth was no longer just a dot in the farthest corner of the galaxy. It was a symbol of hope, strength, and resilience. New alliances were formed, and humanity began to share its knowledge with other peaceful species, helping to rebuild the galactic community that had been torn apart by the war. Humanity was not just surviving, they were thriving. As the human race began to explore the stars and expand their reach across the galaxy, they did so with the knowledge that they could overcome any challenge, no matter how impossible it seemed. The galaxy now had a new power, and its name was humanity. The war had been brutal, the losses immense, but the future was bright, and humanity was ready for it. They had faced the worst the universe had to offer, and they had triumphed. There was nothing that could stop them now. With a new era dawning on Earth, humanity stood tall, knowing that no matter what challenges the future held, they would never back down. The galaxy had learned one thing for sure: never underestimate humanity. In the aftermath of the war, Earth entered a new era of peace and prosperity. The Galactic Council's surrender marked the beginning of humanity's rise in the galactic community. The story of humanity's triumph, born from resilience, sacrifice, and ingenuity, spread throughout the galaxy as a beacon of hope. With their victory, humanity secured its place among the stars, ready to face whatever new challenges awaited.